Hi friends! So it's story time with Miss Vivian and Dorothy. Let's count to 3 and call her name. 1, 2, 3. Dorothy! Hi there, Dorothy! Hello! Oh, hi! How are you, friends? Oh, I love being outside! I know, Dorothy. Isn't it fabulous? It's such a beautiful day. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. I love it. I know. And since we're talking about taking care of our earth, and I just thought it'd be fun to be outside. Oh, that's so fun. I thought it was something else. Oh, what's that? I thought we could learn about something we could do to take care of the earth. Oh, well, there's lots of things we can do, right? To help our earth and to take care of it. Yeah. Did you bring something for us? I brought a book. Okay, can you get it? Yeah. Here it is. Oh, Curious George. Those stories are always so fun, Dorothy. I love Curious George. Oh, let's see if we can read it together. Okay, so can you point to the words for me? Here we go. Curious George. Oh, let's look. That word looks familiar. Plants. Plants. Oh, and you guys know this sight word. A. And what do you think he plants? Look at the picture. Tree, right? Oh, Dorothy. Curious George is going to plant a tree? I think so. Oh, that sounds so fun. So, this is by Margret and H.A. Rays. So, let's find out what happens with Curious George. Okay. Wouldn't that be fun to plant a tree, friends? Let's see what happens. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today was a good day to be curious. The man with the yellow hat was taking George to the Science Museum. The museum was one of George's favorite places. There was always something new to see and interesting to learn. Have you ever been to the museum? There are lots of museums, right? Often, there was a special exhibit. George wanted to know what it was today, but first he had to make his favorite museum stops. Oh, look at this. What is that? Right, a rocket. The rocket room. So look, it looks like the kids can climb inside. That looks like a lot of fun. The mirror maze. And the butterfly space. His 3 favorite places. Finally, George and his friends made it to the special exhibit room. The sign read, "How you can take care of our planet." George learned many things. How all people, animals, plants, air, and water on the planet make up the environment. And how trees help keep the air clean. And how people can help protect the environment from pollution and too much trash. Wow. Right here it tells you how the trees help you. The tree gives off oxygen, which we need for people, because that's what we breathe, right? And then the people give off carbon dioxide, which the trees actually use to survive. So this is kind of like a cycle. You know, we've been learning about other cycles, like the life cycle of a frog. So this is another kind of cycle between the trees and the people on our planet. George had a great time and didn't get into any of his unusual mischief. Look at that. He's just playing with the yellow hat. And he and his friends were leaving. They bumped into the museum director. Dr. Lee looked happy to see him. "How is my best monkey visitor?" Dr. Lee asked George. I'm so glad I ran into you. I wanted to tell you that we're having a Green Day rally tomorrow at the park. George was curious. Whatever a rally was, he was sure that the park was a good place to do it. We're going to plant a truckload of trees and collect used paper for recycling, Dr. Lee explained. We didn't have much time to advertise, but we need lots of volunteers. Would you like to help out? There was nothing that George liked better than to help. What a great idea, the man agreed. We'll be there. Wow, they're going to go help plant trees. That night, George was ready to do his part for the recycling drive. He gathered every newspaper in the house. He stacked old mail on top of the papers. He piled empty cardboard boxes and food cartons on top of that. What a heap. So all of these things are made out of paper. What more could he add? George scratched his head. Then he took several books off his bedroom shelf. Just as George was about to add them to his recycling pile, someone lifted the books out of his hand. Not so fast, George, the man said. These books are made of paper, all right, but you can read and enjoy them many times. And when you're done, you can donate them to other kids or your library. Reusing is just as important as recycling. That was a great point. So George was about to recycle the books because they're made out of paper, but it's better to reuse them and give them to somebody else. The next morning, George and his friends set out for the park with their wagon of neatly stacked paper. Suddenly, the man stopped and said, I forgot my gardening gloves. Go on without me, George. I'll be there soon. As George walked down the street, he spotted several newspapers lying about on his neighbor's front stoops. George had an idea. He had lots of room in his wagon. He could recycle all of those newspapers. Uh-oh, was that a good idea? Are those old newspapers? And the newspapers were not the only things he could recycle. He noticed a stack of paper cups sitting on a table. Uh-oh. Into the wagon they went. So did a pile of magazines and a heap of papers someone left on the sidewalk. Uh-oh. I think George is grabbing things maybe he shouldn't. George was happy with his great load. At the park, he found Dr. Lee standing under a big banner. Good morning, George, Dr. Lee said. I'm so glad you came and brought all of your friends. We need lots of help to get the job done. George turned around. He was surprised to see so many faces, but they didn't look very helpful. They looked angry. Oh no! Why do you think all those people are chasing him? Do you think he took some things from them? The man with the yellow hat arrived just in time. He explained to their neighbors that George was gathering paper for a good cause, and they were no longer mad. They even stayed to help plant the trees. George, you saved our green day, Dr. Lee said, with gratitude. These trees will provide fresher air, and each summer we'll have more shade, which means we'll use less water to keep the grass green. Thank you. Being a monkey, George had known all along how important trees were. Look at George. He's so happy on top of that tree. Well, that was a fun story about planting trees and recycling and reusing. Those are all very important things to take care of our planet. So today I was wondering, if you were able to plant a tree, what kind of tree would you plant? Would you plant a beautiful tree like an oak tree that has lots of green on it? Or would you want to plant a fruit tree so that you would grow fruit on it? I wonder, what kind of tree would you be interested in planting? If you could draw it in your journal and then try to sound out the word and share it with us, we would love to hear about it. I hope you have a super fun week and day. And Dorothy, thank you so much for bringing the book. Bye, friends. I'm gonna swing on my swing now and enjoy the day.